Devonte Smith versus Justin Jaynes. We got minus 280 on Devonte Smith and plus 240 on Justin Jaynes. And it seems like the line is slowly starting to move towards the Justin Jaynes side here. Obviously, Justin Jaynes jumping in on short notice with Alex De Silva having to pull out. Not entirely sure why, but I believe since maybe Friday or Saturday, it looked like they're looking for a replacement for De Silva. And finally yesterday, or I believe it was the day before, they actually they announced that it was going to be Justin Jaynes stepping in. So let's remember with Justin Jaynes, the last time he stepped in on short notice was his UFC debut, and he goes out there and starches Frank Camacho in the first round. Not even first round, the first 40 seconds, I believe it was. And that was his best path to victory in that fight. I think it's the same thing here against Devonte Smith. You know you're going to come in on short notice. You know, he just got finished by Gabriel Benitez not too long ago. I want to say that was the end of October. No, that was actually December 5th. Man, my time is completely off. But yeah, I don't think he was expecting to jump right back into the UFC that quickly. However, here he is, and I feel like he knows that his gas tank probably won't be up to par, so he's going to have to go out there and try to put out Devonte Smith. Again, that's probably his best path to victory. If you look deeper into Justin Jaynes' game, you actually realize that he has a bit of a wrestling game behind it, and he's not just all about throwing fists and trying to knock his opponent out. However, I just don't think he's going to be able to do that here against Devonte Smith, who seems like he'll be the bigger fighter regardless. I think that this is actually going to be taking place at a 160-pound catch weight. Yep, it's 160 pounds. So Justin Jaynes gets a little bit of leeway in terms of having to make the full 155. But again, that just shows you that he just was not ready to take this fight. Again, he trains out of Vegas, so I'm sure it's easy for him to just jump in on these fights nice and early. But again, getting knocked out back in December, or finished, I should say, in December by Gabriel Benitez, and then jumping in maybe 2 months later against a guy like Devonte Smith, it's pretty tough. I was trying to figure out what the odds were going to be before the odds actually came out, and I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a ton of disrespect on Justin Jaynes, because I am one definitely to go out there and disrespect a guy like Justin. However, if he was around that plus 300, plus 400 range, I'd probably go out there and try to take a little bit of a shot on him, as I feel like this is a much closer fight than that, strictly due to the finishing ability of both of these guys and the durability issues of both of them as well too. Justin Jaynes shows obviously he has a lot of power in his hands. He managed to rock Gavin Tucker in the first round of their fight before his gas tank gave up on him, and he was just the pressure just totally caught up to him from Gavin Tucker. And then Gabriel Benitez just did not let him get started. His leg kicks were a huge problem for Justin Jaynes, to the body, to the leg, to the back leg as well too, which caused a lot of issues for him. And then eventually it was a step-in knee that, or I believe it was a counter knee from Benitez that just absolutely floored Justin Jaynes in that fight. Again, he could go out there and knock out Devonte Smith, which is why I don't want to touch this fight at all. Like, if there's anything, maybe the under 1.5 at minus 150. However, even that just seems a little bit too sketchy for me here, especially Devonte Smith coming back after that first, his knockout loss, actually, against Kamaworthy. That was a fight where, Kamaworthy, I should say. I absolutely stumbled his name and tried going on like I didn't, but I do want to correct that. But yeah, the Kamaworthy came in on super short notice in that fight, 4 or 5 days notice, and Devonte Smith was a minus 1,000 favorite, which is absolutely outrageous. And then he goes out there and gets knocked out. So, one, we got to be worried about the chin of Devonte Smith, but I truly believe, like, physically, he's going to have all the advantages. The guy's an absolute beast. He's an absolute specimen. He has great speed. He has great power. He has great explosiveness. And training with the guys over at Factory X MMA the last couple of fights, I feel like he's going to be continuing to grow as a fighter. In terms of his age, he's only 27 years old. He'll be 28 in July. But I think that move over to Factory X was huge for him. I believe he made it right before his Contender Series fight in August of 2018. So now he's had a couple of years to flesh out there. Managed to accrue 3 knockout wins, after changing to Factory X. Then obviously got knocked out by Kamaworthy. I thought that Alex De Silva fight was going to be very, very tough for him, but I feel like this is a better change of pace and an easier fight for him to go out there and possibly get the knockout. He's got to be very wary, though, because he has a ton of power coming back his way from Justin Jaynes. So I'm not touching this fight whatsoever. Like, I would need maybe minus 150-ish on Devonte Smith to take the shot here, as I do believe, again, faster, quicker, more explosive, and probably his speed will be the reason he touches Justin Jaynes before Jaynes touches him. So yeah, I gotta go with Jaynes. Or sorry, I gotta go with Smith. But with Jaynes, if you're getting plus 300, plus 400, then it might be worth a little bit of a shot because the fight is much closer than that. In that plus 200 range, plus 250 range, I'm not really that intrigued. You know, what I mean, I don't feel like I'm getting enough value or bang for my buck by going on a guy in Justin Jaynes who I've notoriously just absolutely shot on in the past, and I've cashed on him twice in back-to-back fights in terms of a lock of the night play. So yeah, I'm not rushing to the betting window to risk my money on a guy like Jaynes unless I get an outrageous line. Maybe if I see that round one knockout prop and we're talking about plus 500 or something like that, plus 600 on Justin Jaynes, I'd be a little bit more intrigued. But it's straight up at plus 230. I'm not interested. So I'll go with Devonte Smith to win by knockout. But this is a fight where it could go either way. Very volatile. If you want to be the smart guy, you can go with the value side, which is Justin Jaynes. But again, I think that the reach advantage, the speed advantage is going to be a little bit too much for Devonte. And in this fight where either guys can be knocked out, I'll go with the guy that has more athletic advantage, the guy that was training for a fight on this date, as well as a guy that I believe he's the younger guy here too, 27, like I said, and Justin Jaynes coming in at 31. So yeah, I'll go with Devonte Smith to win this fight via first round knockout.